Welcome back into that Sean podcast. I be that cat daddy. No, he's the cat daddy. I'm the big Ush. I'm telling you, people, I get confused with all the news that's coming out with the NFL. But believe it or not, this is not an NFL episode this week. We have brought back some college episodes. What do you know? Now, note, this is leading up to the NFL draft. But confusion over. Cat Daddy, what's on your mind?
It may not be an NFL episode, but we're talking about people who are going to be playing in the NFL this coming season at a stadium near you. So it's almost connected, right?
If not near you, on the old TV screen. Now, that being said, let's jump right into it. And we're back again with our position rankings. And these are our finalized position rankings before the draft. Now, this is why Cat Daddy likes the combine, because he can at least use the combine numbers for a lot of these players. Any of these players holding out for their pro day, oh crap. Some of them we ain't going to be able to establish your pro day numbers with our evaluation. Sorry, not sorry. Anyways, moving on to it. Let's start. And we're going in reverse this time, as they say in that, awful line dancing song. Reverse, reverse. And let's go with the easiest position for us to rank. I don't think much has changed for either of us. Let's go with safety. So, Cat Daddy, who's your number 5 guy?
My number 5 guy now, and it's somebody that I have not talked about all year. So
jumping up the board.
Yes, yeah. He wasn't able to participate in the combine drills due to a shoulder surgery, and he got that done when the season ended. He did measure in at a good 6'1", 206 pounds, though, so he's got some good size. It is Brian Cook from Cincinnati. He's a former cornerback, plays safety, so that means he's got some versatility to him, which I think a lot of teams are going to like. They want a safety who can also play the slot. They want a safety who can also play that nickel cornerback position. So on the tape this season, we got to see his quickness. We got to see good movement. We got to see the athleticism. And he has a pro day coming up, which I'm hoping can help him. But these are the final rankings, so I'm just hoping he has a good pro day. You know what I mean?
All right, now a guy I really wanted to move up my list, his name is Kirby Joseph, is not going to make my list, but keep an eye on him. Someone who just had a pro day, did really well. This guy's an athletic freak. That's Damari Mathis. Just keep your eye on him. He's not in my 5th spot. My 5th spot is Jalen Pitre. This guy cemented himself in the Senior Bowl. Did a lot of stuff in the Senior Bowl. He was pretty much the best safety on the field. He's shown a lot of athleticism. This guy's got a lot to like in his game. Number 4, Cat Daddy.
My number 4 guy, and it's almost a shame because I'm starting to really like the depth of this safety class. My number 4 guy is Jaquan Brisker from Penn State, who was previously my number 2 during our preseason rankings and number 3 once the season ended. And now he's 4. There's a lot to like about him. He's a good playmaker. He's got good instincts. And pretty soon, he's going to be flying around an NFL field near you.
So, my number 4 guy is Lewis Cine. Or Cine?
Scene.
It's Cine. Lewis Cine out of Georgia. Very good player. Kind of lost in the shuffle because you've got all these amazing athletes in Georgia, but this guy plays with great range. He can play in the slot. He's probably not going to go on the outside at all for you, but I mean, he can take away. He could possibly be a tight end eraser for you. I probably wouldn't necessarily put him at deep safety, but he's still going to be a very nice piece for you when you throw him into your scheme.
And funny that you mentioned Lewis Seen because he is my number 3 safety prospect. And all the things that you mentioned, I heard teams loved how he was interviewing the combine, going through the pro days, meeting with teams. They really love meeting with them. And it sounds like teams are loving the intangibles that he brings, like the off-field stuff, like the intelligence, what you get in that tape room when you're studying, leadership skills, good character. And those are just things that we can't see on tape. So for me, that kind of gets him a little bit higher. So he's my number 3 guy.
All right, so my number 3 is Jaquan Brisker, your number 4 guy. And in essence, I love the instincts. He again, like seeing, he's got a lot of, he can play in the slot. He can, I think he does have the ability to play free and play out wide, out in that free roaming area. But I do think he's more of a strong safety in essence. But his instincts, he has a feel for where the ball is going to be and when it's going to be there. And sometimes those instincts you can't teach.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, which means I have a feeling we have the same exact people in the same exact order for the top
Most likely.
2. All right. So let's take a stab, and I'm going to guess that your number 2 is the same as my number 2, who is Dax Hill from Michigan.
That is correct. I did have Jaquan Brisker before at number 2. Dax Hill's speed, really, especially when you see his athletic profile, I think really helps out here. The fact that he can play outside in a pinch, this guy is a versatile piece that can play pretty much all over the field.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. With the league becoming more pass heavy, having that versatility of Dax Hill to play safety, to play slot, to play nickel, whatever you need when it comes to coverage, that's just a huge benefit for him. And it's a huge benefit for whatever team drafts him and has the opportunity to employ him however they see fit with that secondary. But I think he has a lot of value for the NFL teams with being able to play cornerback too.
All right, so for the number 1 safety, I'm going to tell the people out there, he is 6'4", 225. I do not give a crap that he ran a 4.55 at the combine. You want to see how fast he runs? There's one play. Who was it against? Is it against Clemson? No. Who's it against? Who's the game where he started on the opposite side of the field, ran on an angle back and got the interception, staying in bounds. He went across the field and back 30 yards. I'm sorry, the man is not slow. You see his game speed. Some people just aren't track guys. Some people turn it on when they're on the field. I know this guy I'm about to say is a wide receiver, but Keenan Allen ran a 4.71. Keenan Allen is one of the best receivers in the league. So please miss me with the BS here.
Yeah, I don't care about the combine showing. He was coming off a knee injury, so in this case, I am fully going to trust the game tape that we saw. And that game tape was next level. It was blue chip prospect. You love his size, you love the skill, and you gotta love the potential that's there. So, unquestionable. I think Kyle Hamilton is one of the few players who has cemented themselves as number 1 at their position on all 3 of our rankings, preseason, postseason, and our final rankings. I think he might be one of the only ones who just takes the number 1 spot every time.
Yeah. All right, next up, we're going to go to corners. This time I'm going to start. And with my number 5 corner, Kair Elam out of Florida. He's got great size. Now, here's something. He ran well. And here's what I'll say. Kyle Hamilton, I don't care about it because 4.55 is not slow for his size. For this guy's size, what he ran is fantastic, especially playing cornerback. Safety, you're not using that catch-up speed as much as you are as a cornerback. And this is just a fantastic speed. This guy has just, he fell out of like the conversation for a while there, but he's been slowly chipping his way back into the conversation, possibly to be a first-round corner.
Yeah, and my number 5 guy is also Kair Elam from Florida. It's a deep and it's a talented quarterback class. And Kair Elam barely stayed in my top 5. Just beat out Roger McCreary for me. But Elam has the size, he has the athleticism that you're looking for with cornerback. And you're right, at the combine, he was able to put that speed on display. And it was not just a box that got checked off for the speed, but it's one of those like, hey, this guy's got legit wheels. We underestimated him. And people are not talking about Kair Elam enough.
Now, speaking of legit wheels, someone who everybody thought wasn't going to have good speed that showed up the combine and said, you're going to have to talk about me, is Trent McDuffie. Trent McDuffie is my number 4 guy. This guy, I mean, fantastic tackler, great in coverage. He's just a technician type guy. And he showed that he does have this catch-up speed that people thought he didn't have. So he's going to make things very interesting at the top here.
Just like you, I have Trent McDuffie number 4 from Washington. It's such a good cornerback class that it's a shame that I have Trent McDuffie sitting at number 4.
Could easily be.
I think it really. And the combine was a huge benefit for McDuffie because he was able to display that speed, go along with the size, go along with the skill. So, yep. I got
right.
McDuffie 4.
So here's where it gets wacky.
Ooh.
My number 3 guy could easily be the number 1 guy. He is probably the corner in this draft with the most upside, and his athletic profile, if he actually accomplishes it, he is the best corner in this draft. But there's too many question marks for me to put him at number 1. Not when you're drafting as high as you draft the number 1 corner. So my number 3 guy is Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU. And if you go by his 2019 tape, this dude is a surefire shutdown corner. But it has injury issues since, and his tape hasn't been as good. Now, if you can get back to that, someone's going to get a steal.
Yes. We do not have the same number 3 person, though, because my number 3 is Andrew Booth Jr. from Clemson. And we haven't heard a whole lot about Booth in this postseason cycle, just like Trent McDuffie, just like Kair Elam. We really haven't heard anything about the cornerbacks outside of Stingley and Gardner. And Booth is forgotten, but he is strong. He's a playmaker, and he's got great man coverage skills. So go ahead, keep sleeping on him.
I do recall someone did not have Booth in his summer rankings.
Booth has stayed number 3 for me.
It did. All right.
Yeah, I had him 3 preseason, 3 postseason, 3 now.
All right. Well, that being said, I'm corrected. I do know Kair Elam fell for you, by the way.
Oh yeah, he went 2, 4, 5. Yeah, he's still in the top 5 though.
That being said, Andrew Booth is number 2 for me. Was number 2 and pre. He's probably the most physical corner in this draft. He does not have any fear of going in and mixing it up. I have no doubts his physical profile, his athletic profile will be just fine. Now to number one. So, my number one guy is different than your number one guy, but you can tell who my number one guy is. So, who is your number two guy?
My number two guy is Ahmed Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati. He's got size. He's got length. He displayed the speed of the combine. He excels in man coverage. There's a lot to like about him, and I don't care what you or anybody says about the competition he faced in the AAC. You watch that tape against Alabama. You watch that tape against one of the best teams, best offenses in the country. That should just negate any argument you have about competition.
All right, so my number one guy is Ahmad Gardner. Sauce is the sauce. I'm sorry. I don't care what you say. I don't care what type of competition someone's playing against. Unless he is a 16-year-old playing against 8th graders. Not 8th graders. A 16-year-old playing against 8-year-olds. If you don't give up a single touchdown, yeah, you a boss. And he showed at the combine he's got quickness. He's very quick. He's got the size. He's got real nice technique, which he showed against Alabama. This guy's a legit stud. Go ahead, number one, Cat Daddy.
All right, number one for me is Derek Stingley Jr. Now, he measured in at the combine. He didn't participate in drills, though. LSU's got their pro day coming up in the next 2 weeks.
That fast track.
And that is going to be very critical for him. And it's not just the 40. Is he going to go through all the agility drills? Is he going to display, what he has? He is cornerback 1 when he's healthy. 2019, his freshman year, he was healthy and he shut down everything in front of him. 21, he was going through and dealing with smaller injuries that ended up costing him time. And for me, he's still number one because it's a risky one because we haven't seen him test. We didn't see him play this year, so we're really going off a lot of that 2019 tape. But if he stays healthy, he is cornerback 1 in this class.
We can agree to disagree. That's okay. All right. Now, speaking of agreeing to disagree, I think for other than 1 and 2, this next group is going to be a fun one. So, off-ball linebackers. Cat Daddy, who's your number 5?
All right. My number 5 is Chad Mumma from Wyoming. He measures in. He's about 6'2", 239. He's got speed. He ran a 4.63 at the combine, I believe. He's got the explosiveness. He tested really well with the vertical and the broad jump. He's got that athleticism. He's got very high football intelligence. He's going to be the guy wearing the green dot, directing the defense. He is going to be a coach on the field. He is a leader, and there's a lot to like about him.
All right, my number 5 is Damone Clark. This guy, again, lost in the shuffle with everything. LSU had a pretty bad season, but this guy played very well. He got that jersey number 18, which LSU means a lot. That shows someone's a big-time leader. This guy has actually very good sideline-to-sideline speed, coverage ability. He's going to be a guy that you're going to get a little bit later that's probably going to be able to emerge and be a solid player in your defense.
All right. Number 4, I've got Leo Chenal from Wisconsin. He's got size. He's got strength. He is going to attack the ball carrier. He's going to attack the quarterback. He just needs to go to a team whose defensive coordinator knows how to use him correctly.
All right, my number 4, Christian Harris of Alabama. And Christian Harris is a very fast guy. He can go sideline to sideline in terms of running after the ball carrier. He's the type of linebacker that needs to live behind the line of scrimmage. His weakness is when he's in coverage, he can get exposed mightily. He's a guy that's going to help your running game. He's going to make sure reverses don't happen, screen plays behind the line of scrimmage. But if you're throwing down the field, he will get exposed, and it will not be pretty.
Yep, my number 3 guy happens to be Christian Harris, and similar to having Derek Stingley Jr. as my cornerback 1 because that potential is there for him. Christian Harris is my number 3 linebacker because of that keyword. It's a dangerous word. It's the potential. He's got the potential to be really good in the NFL. There was something lacking this season when I was watching him. And when it comes to the tape, I think it's how he was playing against the run. Just something was missing. Something was lacking for me.
Not that good against the pass either.
I know. But that potential's there. Where if he goes to the right team, he could be Pro Bowl. So
I think
right
he
now,
could be really good in a Pittsburgh-Baltimore defense. As that more of that attacking linebacker.
he needs to be able to attack. Don't put him into coverage.
Now, my number 3, Chad Mumma. He showed at the Senior Bowl. He showed out. He was one of the best players there. I mean, unlike Christian Harris, this guy's skill set is best in coverage. He's just brilliant in that area of like taking away those passing lanes. Where I do worry about him is in the run defense. I don't know about him shedding blockers, especially coming from a smaller school. This is something that we got to know if he can actually do. But in terms of the new NFL and coverage, this guy's fantastic.
All right, which means we're down to our top 2, and I'm curious, do we have them in the same order? So my number 2.
Well, they weren't last time, but let's see this time.
No. My number 2 now is, drum roll, Georgia's Nakobe Dean.
Oh, really? Number 2.
Number 2. I am extremely intrigued by his decision not to test at the combine, not to test at Georgia's pro day.
It's weird, isn't it?
But I think he's having a private pro day, show-off day before the draft sometime in April. But I'm really intrigued why he opted out of testing at the combine and pro day.
If he's having a private test, it needs to be one thing. Because if it's the other thing, he's off my board. And he's number 2 on my list. He's number 2 on my list, I mind you. You see his tape. The dude is fantastic. He's a very polarizing guy. He's a polarizing guy because a lot of NFL teams are going to look at his size and they're going to put him day 3. It's just the way it is. But I think he can play in the league. My problem is here. Is it one, that he's injured? If he's injured, then I'm okay with this. But if it's 2, if this is hubris, if this is him having a big head, thinking I'm going to show off myself on a, just like all eyes on me type thing, I'm not down for that. I want my players to be confident and cocky, but I don't need them to be self-centered. It's not just about you, it's about the team.
And I'm not sure we saw anything during the season that would give us any indication that is the case.
It feels off, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get not testing at the combine, but then your pro day comes around.
And you don't test with your teammates?
You're still there too, yeah.
Every single one of your teammates did a test except for you?
Yep. All right, so we share the same number 2. I will let you share the number 1.
Oh, yeah, number 1 guy.
Yeah.
Number 1 guy. I wonder who that is.
Talk about.
Well, it is Devin Lloyd, Out of Utah, again, versatile guy, great in coverage, great at run defense, great at shedding blockers. This guy is probably one of the best linebacker prospects in a while in terms of coming out. He's the best pure linebacker overall in this draft.
Size, speed, athleticism, everything that you want. And he can stop the run. He can rush the passer. And he can drop back into coverage. There's no liability with him. He's going to be on field for all 3 downs. Yep.
Wasn't he like a former corner or safety or something?
I'd have to double check on that.
Yeah, we probably should. Yeah, let's check on that real quick as we have time here. I do think he switched positions. I think he switched positions from what he was before. Hold on a second, people.
And now a word from our sponsor. Crickets.
We wish.
Crickets. Crickets. Mana. So this week we did linebackers, quarterback, safeties. Next week we're coming back with the interior defensive line and the edge. And just like we mentioned in the beginning, we're going backwards. You know why? Because the quarterback position is going to be
underwhelming.
Yeah. It is going to be a very good conversation, and I think for that one we need all the pro days out of the way before we even start talking about quarterbacks.
He just wants his boy to get his pro day in.
I know. I want to see Matt Corral, because if we did it today, Matt Corral would still be number 1 just by a hair over Malik Willis.
3. All right, that's all she wrote, folks.